students. I hope so everyone is good and everyone is fine. So today we are going to start off with the new chapter which is from geography, and this is going to be your chapter number 7, Lifelines of National Economy, lecture 1. So today we are starting with this new chapter which says about the lifelines of national economy. What are the major things that is really important in our day-to-day life, from where you basically got to travel, basically you experience it on a daily basis. So currently it is not much of use, but yes, it is a major part of our economy and our life as well. So we are going to talk about the means of transport here, majorly the roadways, railways, the waterways, basically in the airways. Where are they, like what are the major roads, border roads, everything we are going to discuss here, major ports. Then we are going to talk about the communication cycle, the tourism and the trade. So these will be the things that we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. But today the topics that we are going to be covering will be these. So first of all, I am going to introduce this chapter, what this chapter is all about. Then we are going to talk about the means of transport, and in that means of transport we are going to take today the roadways. So we are going to discuss only the roadways. What are the major highways, the different highways we are having, national highways, state highways, district roads, other roads. Then we will talk about the border roads and the road density. These will be the things that we are going to discuss today. So majorly in the means of transport we are going to cover today the roadways. Then the homework solution that I have given you in the previous lecture, that is important. So I will let you know about few of the questions, not the entire one, because we are going to discuss that in the online class today. So I haven't taken much of the questions because we have discussed it already, but we'll discuss it in online class as well. Then a little homework that I have assigned you in this particular lecture. So these are the things that we are going to be covering in this particular lecture today. So please get ready with your book, one notebook and one pen in your hand, that is needed, so that we can start off with this chapter. I hope so everyone is ready now. So we are starting with the lecture now. Please get ready. So first of all, I am going to give you a brief introduction about what this chapter is all about. So we use different materials and services in our daily life. As I told you that in our day-to-day life there will be a lot of things and lot of material and services that we use on a daily basis that are a major part of our life. Like some of these are available in our immediate surroundings, while other requirements are met by bringing things from other places. So like if you want to buy certain things like a pen, a notebook or some sort of books, you can go to some places that could be nearby to you and you can brought that things. But if you want to bring a large amount of like books that is surrounded in some other places, like if you want to go to your bhaiya's place, your nani's place, so they live far away from your places. So what you basically do, you use these local transport, local roads to go or travel somewhere from railways, airways or roadways. So these are the few of the things. So while other requirements are met by bringing things from the other places as well, now these goods and services do not move from supply locals to demand locals on their own. Now what does this supply local and demand locals means? So basically supply local who is giving away the things, and the demand locals who demand for the things to be given to them. So that was it. It means that in the supply local the person is giving away the things, and in demand local you are taking away the things. Now these goods and services do not move just like that from one place to another. The movement of these goods and services from their supply locations to demand location necessities the need for transport. So now whoever particularly want these particular things to be taken, or whoever is demanding, so whoever is going to be supplying those particular material to the location, and the other one is the demanding one, they need some sort of transport to move away these goods and services. Now some people are majorly engaged in facilitating these movements. So majorly they are known as the traders who make the products come to the consumers by transportation. Now if you see that there are people who are majorly engaged in facilitating these movements, now who are these people? They are the one, we known them as a kind of the persons who give us the facility of transportation. They are the traders who can make these products come to the consumers by some sort of transportation. Thus, the phase of development of a country, it all depends upon the production of goods and services as well as their movement over space. So, the phase of this development of a country also depends on the production of goods and services as well as their movement over space. So, we have discussed this in economics as well, that production, the final goods and services of production is important, but the now that transportation has also taken a huge part, so the service sector plays a major role in the development of a country. Therefore, the efficient means of transport are prerequisites for fast development here. So basically, it should be, the means of transport should be efficient enough, because nowadays they need more fast and more repeated deliveries and services. So the movement of these goods and services can be over three important dominants of our earth. So if we see that from where these goods and services can be traveled or can be taken through, so whatever movements these goods and services can be electrated, so they can be in three phases. So the three important dominants of our earth are majorly land, water and air. So the major means of transport, if we talk about, are from we generated from three ways. The three ways are the roadways, the railways and the airways. So based on these, transport can also be classified into land transport, water transport and air transport. So the major means of transport we are having are roadways, railways and waterways, which we call it as pipelines as well. That is given in your diagram as well. In your book you can see it. Okay. अब जो इलाके ये जो है लैंड जहाँ से चीज़ें जाती हैं, तो कहाँ चीज़ें होती हैं? तीन होती हैं मेजरली, होती है रोडवेज, देन रेलवेज, पाइपलाइंस, एंड इन वाटर इनलैंड एंड ओवरसीज, एयर डोमेस्टिक एयरवेज एंड इंटरनेशनल एयरवेज. In domestic airways, you have public undertaker and private airlines, but international airways you need a visa. Like for a long time, this trade and transport were restricted to a limited space. Basically, for a longer period of time, the trade and transport were restricted for a limited space. Like to now also that there are some sort of restrictions. With the development in science and technology, the area of influence of trade and transport expanded far and wide. Now, if you see that the development that we have seen in technology and science have influenced a lot on the transportation sector as well. The service sector have improved so much, and the kind of services they are giving is quite new and it is quite fast. So it is basically influencing all the trade and transport also, and it is expanding more and more far and wide. So today the world has been converted into a large village with the help of efficient and fast moving transport. So basically today we see that the world has converted into a very large kind of a village with the help of efficient and fast moving transport, where transport has been able to achieve this with the help of equally developed communication system. Now transportation is achieving a lot of heights, but it is equally developing the communication system as well, where people are meeting up easily, where there is an easy mode of transport, easy mode of goods and services that are coming up. So therefore, this transport, communication, and trade are complementary to each other. So basically, there is a connection you can see between each and everyone, where there is trade, transport, and communication. So if there will be goods and services transporting from one place to another, a communication is happening between two immediate persons, and who is basically giving away these things is the trader. So therefore, there is a complementary relation that they are building with each other between the transport, communication, and trade. That's why they complementary to each other. Now today, India is quite well linked with the rest of the world despite its vast size, diversity, and linguistic and social culture plurality. So basically, India is quite well linked with the rest of the world now. As you see, we have roads, we have railways, we have waterways, we have airways. हर जगह से हमारे जो इंडिया है, that is particularly linked with the entire world now. Despite the size of the India is quite big, the diversity it is having, the kind of linguistic or social differences it is having, still we are leading a lot better with specifically if we say that from airways, railways, waterways, newspaper, radio, television, cinema, internet, etc. Everything is a part of the service sector now, and service sector has majorly increased from this one century that we have seen that it has increased to such a huge number now, where we have seen a lot more changes in the technology sector, in by coming up of these internet services, computer, laptops, mobile phones, everything. These are also coming up in a way, and they are contributing to the social economic progress in many ways. So basically, all these things are coming up, and what they are doing, they are contributing to our social economic progress in many ways. The trades from local to international levels have added to the vitality of its economy. So majorly the trade from local to international levels have added more to the vitality of this economy. It has enriched our life and added subsequently to growing amenities and fertile facilities for the comfort of life. So basically what these goods and services are providing to the people, it is basically enriching the life of many, and it is adding a constant growing, we can say that a constant growing things for each and every individual out there, where they are growing these amenities and facilities for the comfort of life. And in this chapter, you will see how modern means of transport and communication service as lifelines of our nation act as its modern economy. So we are going to talk about the modern economy, where we are going to discuss about all the modern means of transport here. And in these modern modes of transport and communication services are the lifelines of our nation to our modern economy. So it is thus evident that a dense and efficient network of transport and communication is a prerequisite for local, national, and global trade for trade of life. Now we are going to talk about the means of transport. So majorly, I have just told you about there is three kind of transportation system. The first one is land, the other one is water, and third one is air. So today we are going to discuss about the first mean of transport, that is roadways. So majorly roads are a large part of our life. You witness it day to day. Like आप घर से बाहर निकलो, roads हैं, highways हैं, national flyovers हैं. So what are these? They are all a part of roadways only. So India has one of the largest road network in the world. If we see that India is one of the place where they are having the largest road networking things with the entire world. Now it is not situated with the Indian boundaries only. It is elaborated and it is extended to other part of the world as well and aggregating to about 2.3 million kilometer at present. So basically the kind of roadways that has been expanded to the entire world, it is 2.3 million kilometer at present. And in India, roadways have preceded railways as well. So if we see that in India, roadways are quite better in case with railways. It is quite visible there that they still have an edge over railways in view of the ease with which they can be built and maintained. But here the road transport are like quite different and rooted in different category, but they are a part of like these roadways only, but they still have an edge over these. They just have the edge over these railways in view of the ease, and it can be built and maintained as well. So the growing importance of roadways, vice versa, rail transport is rooted in the following reasons. There are few reasons why there is a growing importance of the road transport, or we can say that rail transport. It is quite like likewise to each other. So what are the reasons we are going to talk about? The first one is construction cost of roads is much lower than that of railway lines. So if we see that the construction we are having for the roads, the cost it is like creating for मतलब जो भी चीज सामान चाहिए होता है रोड बनाने के लिए वो बहुत कम होता है कि रेलवे लाइन्स बनाने, क्योंकि रेलवे लाइन्स बनाने के लिए बहुत सारी ना आर्किटेक्चर चाहिए होता है, लाइन्स चाहिए होती है, मटेरियल ज़्यादा चाहिए होता है, हैवी मटेरियल चाहिए होता है. So basically that cost a lot than the roads. Then roads can traverse comparatively more dissected and undulating topography. So basically this line particularly means that roads can ट्रांसवे कंपैरेटिवली, मतलब रोड्स में आप उसको किसी भी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी उसमें ज़्यादा होती है, आप उसको किसी भी डायरेक्शन में ले जा सकते हो whichever way you wanted. But comparatively to this railway line you have to go to the map areas. उसमें आपको प्रॉपर मैप एरिया मिलता है, आपको एक लिमिटेड एरिया मिलता है जिसको हम टॉपोग्राफी भी कहते हैं, कि आपको उसी डायरेक्शन में ही उसी सिस्टम में ही आपको वो चीज़ें बना सकते हो. Now roads can regulate higher gradients of slopes and as such can traverse mountains such as the Himalayas. So now we have good facilities like in the Himalaya areas. Majorly they are mountains. The roads are quite different, because वहाँ पे roads को बनाना, क्योंकि वहाँ पे हर एक चीज़ बेसिकली स्पेशली रेलवेज या एयरवेज माउंटेन एरियाज में नहीं जाते हैं. बट नाउ जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस गुड कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स रोड्स भी काफ़ी अच्छी बन गई हैं, स्लो से बन गई हैं इन माउंटेन एरियाज में, इन हिली एरियाज में, एंड यू कैन ट्रैवल आउट देयर एज मच एज पॉसिबल, क्योंकि अच्छी रोड्स बन चुकी हैं वहाँ पे अब. Now this road transport is economical in transportation of few person and relatively smaller amount of goods over short distance. So if you see that it costs a really less to some people in terms of transportation. मतलब आप रेलवेज में आप 2000-3000 की टिकट लेते हो और आप उतना ही थोड़ा बहुत ट्रैवल खुद मतलब कॉन्ट्री करके few people they can contribute each other and they can travel from one place to another in their own way. So these road transport is economical in transportation for few person and it is relatively a smaller amount of goods over some short distances. It also provides door-to-door services, thus the cost of loading and unloading is much lower. So if you see that it also provides door-to-door services, like roads are there आफ्टर एवरी, मतलब घरों के बाहर आप जो देखते हो वो रोड्स ही होती हैं. So basically what they are providing door-to-door services. Thus the cost of loading and unloading is much lower also. And road transport is also used as the feeder to other modes of transport, such as they provide a link between the railway stations, airways and the seaports. Now these road transport is helping out the other transportation services as well. They are the feeder to other modes of transport because they are linked with each other. So majorly they are linked with, roads are linked with the railways, they are linked with the airways and seaports as well. तो आपको कहीं भी जाना होगा अपने घर से, अब किसी चीज़ को भी पहुंचाना होगा यहाँ से, या तो एयरवेज के थ्रू या रेलवेज के थ्रू या सीपोर्ट्स के थ्रू. So roads are majorly linked and kind of used as a feeder for every other mode of transport here. Now if you see that in India these classes according to their capacity. Now you can look at the map as well of the national highways and find out about the significant role played by these roads. So you can see that they are majorly golden quadrilateral basically super highways. So इसको हम ये इस नाम से इसलिए जानते हैं क्योंकि they are the major linked. आपने सुना होगा नेशनल हाईवे 1, नेशनल हाईवे 2, 10. तो majorly they are linked with a lot of states out there and they are built up with like that only, जो कि एक स्टेट को दूसरे स्टेट से ज्वाइन करते हैं. So majorly in India these roads are classified in the following 6 classes according to their capacity. So like if you see in the map you can see the major national highways, how they are linked with each other, which national highways linked with each other. From north to south there is a coordinator, from east to west there is a coordinator. National highways with the number it has been given in the map, you can see that. So this particular map you have to do as a homework as well. So first of all we are going to talk about the golden quadrilateral super highways. So basically in golden quadrilateral super highways, the government has launched a major road development in projecting links with the other part of the cities and states as well, like Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Mumbai. They are linked with one sort of highway, and Delhi by 6 lane super highways. So Delhi तो मेन है ही है. आप अगर देखा जाए तो बहुत सारे ऐसे हाईवेज के साथ जो कि दूसरे स्टेट्स के साथ लिंक्ड होते हैं. इन दी नॉर्थ एंड साउथ कॉरियर लिंकिंग देयर इज श्रीनगर, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, जो कि सीधा जाता है कन्याकुमारी. अगर आप देखो तो इट इज स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम उड़ी एंड लाइक फ्रॉम दिस श्रीनगर साइड से अगर हम देखें तो वहाँ से स्टार्ट होता है एंड ख़त्म होता है उड़ी पे जाके, सॉरी कन्याकुमारी पे जाके. देन ईस्ट to west corridor connecting, you can look at the map and just see how they are linked with each other. So if from east to west corridor it is connecting with the Silchar which is in Assam. So you can see that from the west side it is connecting from पोरबंदर आपको दिख रहा होगा कॉर्नर में, वहां से it is linked to this Silchar which is in Assam. Now it is a part of this project that the major objective of this super highways is to reduce the time and distance between the mega cities of India. So majorly if you see that these highways अगर ये नहीं होते, अगर ये फ्लाईओवर्स नहीं होते, जो अभी आपको ट्रैवल का टाइम लगता है ना 2 घंटा 3 घंटा, आपको अगर ये हाईवेज नहीं होते, it is, I can guarantee you that it's going to take you 5 to 6 hours to reach one place, because majorly they are built only, the major objective of these super highways is to reduce the time and distance between the mega cities of India. Now we are going to talk about the different sort of highways which are there. So first of all we are going to discuss about the national highways. So in the national highways they are linked extreme पार्ट ऑफ द कंट्री. तो जो भी हमारे नेशनल हाईवेज वो होते हैं जो कि मेजर हमारे जैसे नॉर्थ साउथ ईस्ट वेस्ट को जोड़ते हैं, वो होते हैं हमारे नेशनल हाईवे विच आर लिंक विद द एक्सट्रीम पार्ट्स ऑफ द कंट्री. दीज आर द प्राइमरी रोड सिस्टम and that are laid and maintained by the Central Public Works Department. So who actually manage this road system is the Central Public Works Department, that is CPWD. He is the one, they are the one who are like helping out with this roadway system. Now a number of major national highways run in north to south and east to west direction. So majorly they are covering the 4 directions in the national highways. So the historical Sher-Shah Suri Marg is called the National Highway number 1, which is between Delhi and Amritsar. So there is a major historical highway that was built a long time ago, which we known it as Sher-Shah Suri Marg, and it is called the first national highway, which is there between Delhi and Amritsar. And do you know that National Highway number 7 is the longest till now, and it transfers 2,369 kilometers between Varanasi and Kanyakumari, and it is include Jabalpur, Nagpur, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Missouri, Delhi and Mumbai are also connected by National Highway number 8 now, while National Highway number 15 covers most of the Rajasthan. So many national highways are there which are covering the major cities from the north, south, east and west. They are including, you can see it in the map as well. Now we are going to talk about the state highways. So state highways are basically the roads that is linked to a state capital only, with different restricted headwaters are known as state highways. So now you can see that अगर आपको एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट में ट्रैवल करना होता है तो आपको टोल देना होता है आपको. तो मेजरली वो इसलिए होता है क्योंकि अब उन्होंने रिस्ट्रिक्टेड हेड ऑर्डर्स बना दिए हैं फॉर दी स्टेट हाईवेज कि अगर आपको ट्रैवल करना है तो आपको उसकी ड्यूटी भी देनी पड़ेगी. सो दीज रोड्स लिंकिंग मेजरली आर दी स्टेट कैपिटल विद डिफरेंट डिस्ट्रिक्ट हेडक्वार्टर्स आर नोन एज स्टेट हाईवेज, एंड दीज रोड्स आर कंस्ट्रक्टेड एंड मेंटेन्ड बाय द स्टेट पब्लिक वर्क्स डिपार्टमेंट. तो वो जो नेशनल हाईवे है वो CPWD देखती है, जो कि स्टेट हाईवे देखते हैं वो होते हैं PWD, विच आर दी स्टेट पब्लिक वर्क्स डिपार्टमेंट एंड स्टेट एंड यूनियन टेरिटरीज एज वेल. Now we are going to talk about the district roads which we are having in our own states. So these roads are majorly connected through these district headquarters with other places of the district, and these roads are maintained by the जिला परिषद. तो अब हम आपके हरियाणा में जितने भी डिस्ट्रिक्ट रोड्स हैं they come under the district roads. जितने भी रोड्स हैं डिस्ट्रिक्ट एरिया में they come under the district roads, and they have a district headquarter with these. अगर कोई खड्डे वड्डे हो जाते हैं या रोड खराब हो जाती है तो आपको यहाँ पे आप फोन कर सकते हो या तो PWD में फोन कर सकते हो कि इन रोड्स की मेंटेनेंस के लिए. So basically these roads are maintained by the Zilla Parishad as well. Now we are going to talk about the other roads. So in other roads they are rural roads which are linked with the rural areas and villages and with towns and are classified under this category. These roads are received special with some special impacts under the Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana. So there is a particular scheme also that is given for the roadways, which is Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana, where they can take the like support from these particular community if there is any road damage or they want the certain road linkage with the village, other parts of the village as well. So under the scheme, special provisions have been given and made for every village in the country which is linked to a major town in the country. Now जितने भी गाँव होंगे आपके आसपास, वहाँ से you can see that there are certainly major roads जो कि आपके मॉडर्न टाउन्स या फिर मेजर सिटीज़ में जाके लिंक करती होंगी. सो बेसिकली ये स्कीम जो भी प्रधानमंत्री सड़क योजना की है, दे आर गिविंग द प्रोविजंस टू दीज वेयर दे कैन लिंक इट विद द मेजर टाउन इन द कंट्री बाय ऑल सीजन मोटरेबल रोड्स. तो उनको पक्की रोडें बना के देना, ये सारी चीज़ें करना उनका काम ही है. Now we are going to talk about the border roads. Now border roads क्या होती हैं? Apart from these, border roads are the organization of a government of India where they are undertaking constructions and maintains roads in the bordering areas of the country. Now border roads are basically I just told you about the tolls. So अब वो टोल लिया क्यों जाता है? Major question is this: why they are taking these tolls? Majorly in the other parts of the states and wherever you are traveling, there is certain construction cost that is developing. So apart from the taxes that you are giving, it is majorly helping out, and for the maintenance of these roads, they are taking this toll for their own state. मतलब आप यहाँ से फरीदाबाद भी जाओ या यहाँ से आपको यहाँ से मतलब मानेसर भी चले जाओ, गुड़गांव टू मानेसर, तो मेजरली आपको टोल देना होता है, विच इज फॉर द मेंटेनेंस ऑफ द रोड्स, जो कि लेते हैं फ्रॉम दिस बॉर्डरिंग एरियाज ऑफ द कंट्री. Now this organization was established in 1960 for the development of the roads of strategic importance in the northern and northeast border areas. Now it is not limited to the states and different different parts of the districts. It is there in the border lines as well. Like जो भी हमारे border links है with the other state, sorry, with the other countries, ये उनके साथ भी linked है. So this organization was established in 1960 for the development of the roads of strategic importance in the northern and the northeastern border areas. These roads have improved accessibility in areas of difficult terrain and have helped in the economic development of these areas. Now roads can also be classified on the basis of the type of material used for their construction, such as metalled and unmetalled roads. So now what are these metalled roads and what are these unmetalled roads? So these metalled roads may be made of the cement, concrete and even bitumen of coal. Therefore they are all weather roads. आपकी जैसे मेन रोड्स होती हैं जो कि बाहर होती हैं आपके घरों के जैसे बीच वाली जो गलियां होती हैं, वो अनमेटल्ड रोड्स होती हैं. लेकिन जो मेन रोड्स होती हैं विच आर लिंक्ड विद दी पूरा जो स्टेट को कवर करें, जो जिसमें मेजरली जिसको हम ऑल वेदर रोड्स कह सकते हैं कि कोई भी वेदर हो जाए, कुछ भी हो जाए, वो टूटेंगी नहीं, तो उसको हम मेटल्ड रोड्स कहते हैं. नाउ व्हाट आर दिस अनमेटल्ड रोड्स गो आउट ऑफ यूज इन दी रेनी सीजन. जैसे ही बारिश अगर सीजन शुरू होता है, वो मतलब थोड़ा जैसे लाइट वाला जो मटेरियल यूज कर लेते हैं और वो बिखरने लग जाता है. सो मेजरली आपने अगर कोई भी ऐसा वैसा मटेरियल यूज किया है तो रेनी सीजन आते ही वो जो रोड है वो ढल जाएगी, वो टिकेगी नहीं. सो इट ऑल डिपेंड्स ऑन दी वेदर. अगर आपके ऑल वेदर रोड्स हैं तो वो मेटलेड रोड्स हैं जिसमें सारी चीज़ यूज़ की है प्रॉपरली. अगर वो नहीं टिका तो वो अनमेटलेड रोड्स हैं जिसमें चीज़ें उन्होंने प्रॉपरली यूज़ नहीं करी हैं. Now road density. So road density is basically the kind of length it is taking. So the length of the road per 100 square kilometer of area is known as density of roads. तो आप कितना ट्रैवल करते हो, मतलब 1 किलोमीटर हो गया, हम ऐसे बोलते हैं ना 1 किलोमीटर 2 किलोमीटर कितना हो, मतलब डिस्टेंस कितना हो गया. So basically the length of these roads per 100 square kilometer is 1 kilometer. So of area is known as the density of roads. Distribution of roads is not uniform in the country. So distribution of these roads are not particularly uniform in the country. They are having a density of all roads varies from only 12.14 kilometer in Jammu and Kashmir to 517.77 kilometers in Kerala. So as on 31st March 2011 survey it is being established कि कितना डिस्टेंस था, वो कितनी डेंसिटी थी, कितना लेवल था, with the national average of 142.68 किलोमीटर. तो इस एवरेज के साथ उन्होंने ये चीज़ लगाई थी. Now these road transportations in India faces a number of problems, keeping in view about the volume of traffic and passengers, and the road network is inadequate. Inadequate मतलब it is not much stable now. So keeping in view about these things कि ट्रैफिक इतना ज़्यादा होता है, डिस्टेंस जाए. अब तो ऐसा हो गया कि ये जो हाईवेज वगैरह ये कम का करने के लिए बने थे, रोडवेज में हमको अब ज़्यादा टाइम लगता है ट्रैवल करने में क्योंकि इतना ट्रैफिक होता है, इतने पैसेंजर्स हो गए, सबके पास गाड़ियाँ हैं. अभी कोरोना टाइम में चल रहा है, फिर भी मैं बाहर जाके अभी कभी मैं गई हूँ ना, ऐसा लगता है सब नॉर्मल है, किसी के लिए कुछ कोरोना टाइम में चल रहा है, कुछ ऐसा नहीं है. सबके लिए वही नॉर्मल लाइफ है, बट दे आर यूजिंग देयर दे आर जस्ट इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ अ मीन ऑफ अ न्यू नॉर्मल मान लो इसमें। अब इसी के साथ ही रहना है अगर ये चीज ठीक नहीं हुई तो। Now about half of the roads are unmetalled and this limits their usage during the rainy season. Now if you have seen that कुछ होती हैं जो मेजर रोड्स होती है जो सही रहती हैं, लेकिन कुछ रोड्स होती हैं जो टूट जाती हैं क्योंकि वो अनमेटल्ड होती हैं एंड उनका जो टाइम ड्यूरेशन पे होता है वो इतना ज़्यादा नहीं होता है। तो these national highways are inadequate too. Moreover, the roadways are highly congested in cities and most of the bridges and culverts are old and narrow. So, however, in recent years, the fast development of road networks has taken place in different parts of the countries as well. So, we are done with the roadways. Now, the homework solution. So, I have given you few of the assignment questions. I haven't written the entire solution here, but it is like could help you out with the assignment solution. So the first question was about the national what are the three national political parties, just let me know. So these national political parties are the parties which do elect all over the country, and the selection commission can make or remove the parties from the post of national parties, like Bahujan Samaj Party, the symbol is elephant. Bharatiya Janata Party, the symbol is lotus. Indian Congress, National Congress Party, that is the symbol is palm. Now question number 2, it is given in your in-text exercise. We will discuss it later in the online class today. Now question number 3, in politics, a political party is an organized group of people who have the same ideology or who otherwise have the same political position and who field this candidate for elections in an attempt to get them elected and therefore implement the party's agenda. They are a defining element of representative democracy. Answer number 4, the various challenges that are being faced by the political parties are lack of internal democracy. Every member of the party does not have a chance to take part in the decision making process. Every member is not consulted before taking a decision. There is no proper organization for registration of members. Power remains in the hand of a few top leaders and do not consult ordinary members. Ordinary members have no information about the internal working of the party. Then dynastic succession with power in the hands of a few top leaders. All party positions go to their family members. These members may not be qualified for have the ability to hold this position. Third, money and muscle power. Money is needed to organize demonstrations, public meetings and speeches to publicize the image of the party. Parties choose those candidates who can raise money for the party and win elections with their money. Sometimes these parties also support criminal candidates because they can win elections. There is one more, I haven't written it, but you can write it. I have already mentioned it, and other questions we have done it before, so I am not letting you about the I am not discussing here in these answers today. So the homework that I want to give you today is that you have to do the map work given on page number 83, where you have to tell about the golden quadrilateral, north-south quadrilateral, east to west quadrilateral and national highway with numbers. So basically you can take any physical related map, of India, and you can do this map and please paste it and show it to me, and please write about the various advantages of roadways as well. So this is going to be your homework. Please do it. And if you have any queries related to today's lecture, please let me know in the online class. We are meeting up on Google Meet now. I will send you a link on that and you will join the meeting according to that only. Okay. So please let me know your queries on there and that's it for today's lecture. Please thank you so much and take care of yourself.